Hi friends, welcome to Shell Scripting course video series presented by Narendra from Do With Python Technologies. In this video, we are going to see concepts like variable, export variable, read-only variable, and declare command, data types, and also data structures in your shell script. Let me go with very first concept, that is variable. So already in one of my video, I have given some info about variable or variables. So that is like in order to store some value, we are using variables, right? And simple thing, a variable is a container that temporarily stores a data that will be processed through a programming language. Okay. Now simply if you want to define a variable, you can define like x equals to 4 or some any value, right? Then in case if you want to display that value, you are using echo the variable x value. So echo will print the whatever there in quotations except dollar some variable. So dollar some variable that will be printed the value of that variable, and remaining will be printed as it is. Okay, let me show this on my command line. Suppose if you are trying to display some variable value which is not defined, then what you are getting? Then you will get definitely empty string, nothing you will get. Let me go with my server. So here, suppose observe here, I am going to write some x45. Sorry, that's a different story. Now I am going to define some xy variable. I am taking xy as the variable, xy equals to 45. And if I want to display that only value, then simply $xy, so that you will be able to get your xy variable value. Along with that, if you want to write some information like the variable xy value is, okay, then $xy. That's it. Let me take suppose something. I'm going to take some variable, but I don't know whether it is there or not, but I'm trying to print that. So the variable new variable, just I'm taking name as, that's it, is, what is the value stored in that? In case if it is defined previously, then you should get some variable value for that. But if it is not defined, then what you will get? See, you are not getting anything, means that is an empty string. If you want to get some clarity, you can get in this way. Without any info, if you are trying to print, you will get some empty. That means empty is nothing but a string. This is because by default all values are strings in your shell scripting. So we will go with that. Just remember that in case if any variable is not defined, then for that you will get right value as empty. Okay. Then next, how to delete a variable? Suppose you define somewhere some variable value, but I don't want to take that. I want to delete that. Then how you can delete that? So it's very simple. Using unset command, you can delete your variable value. Okay. Let me show that. So already we defined xy value. Suppose if I print $xy, right? Then what is the value you are going to get? Some 45. Now I am going to use command simply unset xy. Now I am trying to print the xy value. You are getting empty. Because of unset xy, your value has been deleted. There is no more xy variable. Now whenever you are trying to print the xy value, okay, now it's like a new variable. It is not defined. We know that if any variable is not defined, then what you are going to get? Some empty string. That's why you are getting some empty string. Okay, then next concept is exporting your variable. What is mean by that? Okay, suppose if you want to export some variable value, then you have to use command. It may be on command line or in your shell script, export x. Then what is the use of that? So let me go with that. Suppose as of now we don't have any value xy, right? I am going to write xy equals to 45 and some what is the variable value now stored in your xy? 45. At the same time, I am trying to print one more variable value, some x, y, z. I am taking variable value some 6. Now, if I print that value, right, what you will get? X, Y, Z is 6. Now, what I am doing is export xy, but I am not exporting xyz. And now observe that I am going to write some simple script, simple shell script. Okay, so very first line is always bin bash. Then now I am trying to print the xy value is, see, even though in shell script I am not defining the xy value, but I am trying to print xy value. Then what will happen? At the same time, the value of xyz is also not defined here, but I am trying to print that xyz value. Then what will happen? Just observe that. Then I am running that. So before going to run, you provide execution permissions for your script, right? Now I have given. Now before running our script, let me show my script. Now I am going to run that simple shell script. Then what will happen? See, the value of xy you are able to read even though from your shell script, but the value of xyz is not able to read from your shell script, right? So that is the purpose of export. From command line, if you export something, then that variable value you can able to read even from your shell script. So that is the use of export command. Now if you want to see what are the all export variables in your command line, then you can use export -p, so that you can able to see the all exported values. So these are all the exported variable values. Okay guys, this is the way how to use your export and simple about variable. Okay, then next concept is read only variable. Nothing is there. Suppose in your entire program, if you don't want to change the some variable value at starting, whatever the value you are going to provide for your variable, that value if you don't want to change in your entire program, okay, then what you have to do? See, while doing your logic, there may be a chance to change your variable value, but you should require that I don't want to change my variable value even in accidentally. Then how you can do that? Nothing is that, simply with the help of read only command. Suppose if your value x equals to 10, whatever the logic I am going to implement in that entire logic, I don't want to change x equals 10 value, then how can I define that? Simply read only x. So after defining your variable value, you can do read only x. Okay, or suppose say, okay, once if you define your variable as read only x, then if you try to change x equals to 45, some variable value, some value if you assign to your variable, then it will throw error. We will see that. This is one way. Or directly while declaring your variable as read only, at that time also you can define your variable value like this: read only x equals to 10. Let me go to my command line. There I will explain something. Suppose I am going to take my variable value as xy, I mean my variable name as xy. Then how can I define that as read only variable? Nothing is that. Suppose first define, anyway already we are having some value for xy, right? Okay, I will take some different value, some pq, or pq equals, I am taking some 45. Then echo $pq. Then what will the output? 45. Now what I am doing is, suppose in this case pq, I am trying to change that value. Yes, you can change it at any time. You can redeclare your variable value. Now observe what is the variable value stored in your pq, 67. But I don't want to change my variable value once if it is defined. Then in that case, read only your variable. Then as of now your pq value is 67. Now if I try to change, okay, 67, suppose I want to change 66. then you will get error. Read only variable, you can't able to change that value because that is read only variable. You don't have any permissions to write on that. That's it. That is the meaning of read only variable. At the same time, while using read only command, suppose read only some rt value I am taking as some 45 or 89, then echo I'm going to display that first 89. Now I'm trying to change that. No, it's not possible because you defined that as a read only variable. And remember that once if you define your variable as read only, then you can't delete it or you can't rechange the value. Okay, I mean, suppose even though if I use unset command on your RT, it's not possible. So be careful while defining your variable as read only in your program, in your shell script. Okay. Okay. Then next concept is data types. See, basically data types, it depends on what type of data you are going to store into your variable. Suppose just assume if x is my variable, if I stored value as 4, then this data is number data or integer. If I store some 4.5, again this is a number data or floating point. If I store some complex value, again first of all this is a number data type, but number is complex number. And if I store some x equals to high, and remember that whenever if you are going to store some strings or text or character, then you should use double quotation or single quotation, but better way is use always double quotation. Now I will use double quotation whenever there is a situation. What is the difference between double and single quotation, then we will discuss that itself. Now as of now, simply remember that whenever if you are going to assign some strings or text or a character to your variable, then use double quotation. Now here I am going to assign my data as words. In that case, my data type is string or character. That's it. Okay. Now in your shell script, okay, by default all variables are strings data type only. Suppose in your other programming languages, not programming, in other scripting languages like Python or Perl, if you write x equals to 2, then automatically dynamically your x variable treated as integer. If I take x equals to 4.5, then your x variable value will be treated as a float point. But that dynamically conversion of your data type into your variable is not possible into your shell script. This is one of the biggest disadvantage in your shell script. Okay, so whenever if you want to do mathematical calculations on your data, it's better to go with either Perl or Python, like other scripting languages. Of course you can do it, but for that you need to some extra steps. By default all variables are strings or string data types in your shell script. This is the very important point, you need to remember that. Okay. Okay, simply remember that variables are not dynamically typed, and if you want to do some mathematical operations, then it's better to go with other scripting languages like Python or Perl. That's it. Okay. Now suppose if I want to store some string to my variable, I can write x equals to in quotations, but for numbers it is optional. You can write, even though if you write in quotations or without quotations, finally that will be treated as a data type as string only. But for numbers, you may take quotations or you may not take quotations, but both are the same meaning. That's it. Okay. In later classes I will show the difference between how we are treating, why shell scripting is treating your entire variable as a string data type. Okay. Then suppose if you want to declare a numbers, see, basically scripting languages supports dynamically typed concept, but shell scripting is not supporting that dynamically typed concept, but there is some extra syntax in order to declare your variable as some data type. Suppose if I want to declare my data type as integer, then you have to use one of the command, that is declare. declare -i your variable name, so that your data will be treated as integer. Okay, let me go to my command line. There I will show the difference. Suppose, let me take some example. My data I am going to take as 56. Okay, then my result I am taking, nothing is there. I am going to do my data, guys, 56 divided by some value I want to do, suppose 8. Okay, generally, okay, you should get some output which is not I mean, what is the calculation after 56 by 8, that you should get. And we know that here I want to place basically 56, but that is stored in my data. Now in order to place 56 in terms of variable, you should use dollar my data represent 56 in shell script. Okay, now I have done some calculation. Suppose if I print that my value, what is there in my result, if I want to see that, I can do like this. But see the output you are getting, you are not getting the resultant, but you are getting still that as it is 56 by 8. That means that is a string, because string that will be treated as a string, that's why you are getting as it is. But instead of that, just assume declare -i my data equals to 56, and declare -i my result. I am taking my result as integer variable, but here I am not doing calculation. But if you can, of course you can do here itself, like equals to dollar my data by 8. You can do it. If you want to do in next step, you can do it. Now I am doing my result equals to dollar my data by 8. Now echo your result, I mean print your result, observe your output, you are getting 7. So previously they are strings, that's why string will be as it is calculated, whatever it is there, the same way it will be printed. But now we are saying that externally that is the integer. That's why your mathematical calculation is possible on your data. That's it. So by this you can conclude that by default data are strings in your shell scripting. But whenever if you want to do some mathematical calculations like arithmetic operations, you should forcefully declare your variable as integer. That's it, guys. So finally remember that by default all variables in your shell scripts are strings variables only. Okay, then next concept is how to use declare command. Okay guys, before going to that, suppose you know, right, export command is used to some variable. Suppose if I use export -p, you can able to see what are the exported variables. The same way, suppose if you want to see declare -p, what are the declared variables? It may be integer or something. So export -p, declare -p. They are used to see the, with using that command, what they did previously, or default variables what are there, that you can see. That's it. Okay, now come to declare command. Declare options and optional variable. So suppose if I use declare -rx, then it's like a read only variable. Previously we done that with read only command. So this is also exact meaning, declare -rx. And you can also do like this, declare -rx equals to 10. Both are same, exactly same. Then declare -r means to list the read only variables. Let me go with that. Suppose declare only, I want to see read only variables. These are the read only variables. So some are declared by us, some are declared by default with the system. That's it. So if you want to use like read only your variable, with the declare command also you can do declare -r x some xyp. I'm taking some different variable. Now xyp, if you reassign something, then you will get, that is a read only variable, same as read only command. But here declare -r, that entire thing is equals to, see, declare -r, this entire thing is equals to your read only command. That's it, nothing is that. Okay, then next thing is declare -ix, means in order to define your variable as integer, you can use it. Okay, at the same time integer as well as I don't want to change my variable value, then ir, that's it. Okay, okay, so declare -i to list the, as of now, what are the integers value declared. So these are the all declared values, integer declared integer values. Some of them are declared by us and some of them declared by system itself, uid. Okay, so these are defined by, sorry, from here, right, bash id, euid. So these are some integer values declared by as well as with system. Then declare -ax. A means array, to declare arrays in K shell, but in bash shell directly we can define array. So it's not important in bash shell. Anyway, we are going with bash shell, and in order to see the list of arrays, declare -a. You can go with that, but it will work in even in your shell script, bash shell also. So these are some of the arrays declared by your system, and this is the array defined by myself and these two. Okay, okay, now declare -x some variable. See, it's like a export command, but there is a different meaning. Meaning is same, export, but there is a different usage. What is that? I will show that with the help of script. See, from command line, if you export, you can able to read that in your shell script. We saw that at the very first of this class, right? But let me write some two scripts. I am going to write first.sh. So here what I am doing is bin bash declare -x my value equals to some 456. Let me take some 87. Okay, now don't confuse with that, change more plus x post.sh. So our script is this one. We are using variable value as my value. Now suppose if I run that, now I want to see outside of your script. From command line I am trying to see my value. Observe that whether you are able to get or not. Then you can't get it. See, from command line, if you export, then you can able to read that in your shell script. But if you export in shell script, you can't able to read it on your command line. Then what is the use of declare -x? Nothing is there. Suppose your one shell script is running other shell script or number of other shell scripts. Then in that scripts, if you want to read, if you want to take some variable value from the first, from parent shell script, nothing is there. Just observe that this is your main parent shell script. Through this shell script I am going to run some different scripts, but in that scripts, now this is parent, this is child script. So in that script, okay, this is somewhere, again this is one shell script, again this is somewhere some shell script, but that shell script you are trying to run with your parent script. Then suppose if I define some variable x value 10, but this variable value I want to read it in this script and in this script. In that case you have to declare -x option. Let me show the usage now. Now anyway, in your first script you are having this my value. Now I am going to create second script. Now here I am writing some shell script. Now here I am trying to print the value, my value. Otherwise this output, sorry, is from second script. Okay, now here I am going to print our value. my value. But here there is no variable value my value, but I am trying to print that. Then what will happen? Okay. Now as of now, change mode plus x seconds, not sh, sorry, chmod plus x second. Okay. Now second script is there. Okay. But in your first script you are not trying, you have to run your second script. Let me go to first script. Now I am going to run. After declaring my variable, I am going to run second.sh. See, in first script you don't have any echo statement. In second script you are having echo statement, but in second script you don't have my value variable, but still you are able to get that. So simply I can say that declare -x option is used to export your variable value to the child scripts from the parent script. That's it guys, nothing is there. Okay, then declare -f. Now suppose as of now you people don't know about functions, right? In case if you know about functions in your script, you can define somewhere functions. After defining functions here, if you write simply declare -f command, then it will print as of now. Previously what are the functions are there, that functions it will display. Declare -f. That's it, nothing is there. Declare -p, so it lists all the declared values. Okay. Okay guys, this is all about declare option. You need to concentrate on this one, declare -x, and of course you know how to make a variable as read only with read only command, but same thing you can do with read declare -x. And one more thing is how to declare the integer values. That's it. Now next concept is data structures. See, data structures or data collections, everything is same. So what is mean by this is, suppose you are having some x1 variable, x2 variable, x3 variable. So these are normal variables. Of course they are also called as scalars. Scalars, this concept is same either in your Python, right, or shell, or even in your AML script. A single variable, if you take, in that variable if you are able to store only single value, then those are called scalars by default. But instead of, suppose I want to define three variable values, three values or three data I want to store. Instead of taking three variables, okay, you can store your data into a single variable like x equals to parentheses 2, 3, 4, and this is called array data structure in your shell script. The same concept is there in your Python. Okay, there it is called tuple, and there we are separating each value by comma. But here you should not take comma, you have to provide space between two values, and these values may be same type or different types. Okay, you can take either numbers or strings or character. So this is called basically array. Okay, array. But of course the same concept is there in your Python as well as AML. In AML it is called suppose like sequence. In our shell script is called array. But in your Python, arrays are different, lists are different, sequences different. I mean tuples are different. Okay, so simply nothing is there in your shell script. You are having two types of data structures. One is scalar, that is default data. By default how you are going to define a variable, that is nothing but scalar, and you don't need to remember about this. Anyway, you know, straightforward, x equals some value. That's it. Now second thing is arrays. Basically arrays is nothing but a collection of data, more than one data I can say simply. But in your shell script, if you want to define an array, you have to follow this. My array equals to parenthesis, inside that you have to provide your list of data, but each data should be separated by a space, because default internal field separated in your shell script is first preference is space, then second preference for tab, then third preference is for new line. This is tab guys, tab hyphen tab new line. So default space is the separator to separate any two values. Okay, that's it. So this is called array. When you will take array, whenever if you want to store a multiple number of data, instead of defining for each data single variable, it's better to take as an array. See, suppose if I want to store some values 3, 6, 7, you can take three variables x1, x2, x3 and you can assign for them. But instead of that, simply take x as an array parenthesis 3, 6, 7. So instead of writing three variables, now you are going to wind up with your requirement with only single variable. So that is the important. Okay, reducing number of variables. Okay. Now if this is your array, then how to access your array or array values? Very simple. First thing is, if you know right, like if you want to display x variable value, if x equals to 56, how you can display that x equals to 56? Echo $x in quotation, right? Same thing you can do, echo $myArray. Then what will happen? By default, if it is an array, you will get only first value for this. And generally in arrays or list or tuples, suppose just assume your data will be stored like this. First value is 34, second value is 56, 78, then high, then shell. One more thing is suppose shell. And this position is 0th position, first position, second position, third position, fourth position. Now each data from your array you can access based on its positions. First data is at 0th position, second data is at first position, third data is second position, fourth data is third position, fifth data is at fourth position. And these are called indices, index values of your each data, indices. Okay, now these are called positive indices of your data. You can also represent with negative. They are starting from right, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Now you can access your arrays data either using positive index values or negative index values. Both are same. You can access anyway. Let me go and show that. Okay, and you have to remember that for your array name must be closed by curly braces. Inside that you have to access with your index positions. Let me go and to my command line. There I will show the difference. What will happen if you are not going to take? Let me define some array. New array I am taking. Suppose new array equals to. Guys, don't take any space on either side of your equal symbol in your shell script. Not only here, anywhere. While defining your variable, do not take any space on your either side of equal symbol. So bash gets unhappy in case if you take spaces. Suppose I am going to take 34, 78, some data, some string, okay, some 45, then I am going to wind up. Suppose straightforward, in case if I print like your normal variable, then what will happen? You are able to get only first value. You should not get entire data. Then how you can get it entire data? You can't get it. You should go with based on positions. You can get your required data. Suppose if I take, just assume I want to take only first index, 0th index value. Then suppose if I take, okay, I will go with first index first so that you will get some clarity. Anyway, default is 0 index. You are going to get. Now observe your data. You are not getting. Suppose if I write like this, okay, observe the output guys. Syntax, that syntax you need to require. You are getting 34 in square brackets 1. No, still you are not able to get your required thing. Now this is the correct syntax in order to work with your arrays. That's it. Now 0th position is 34, first position is 1. So I am going to take first position. So my intention is Remember that you should use curly braces for arrays. Even normal variables also you can use curly braces. In case if you want to practice from starting itself, okay, sorry, x is reading only variable. Anyway, already x value is there. Suppose if I print x or echo dollar curly braces x, you will get same thing. If you want to make a practice from starting itself for each and every variable, you can take curly braces. It's not a problem. That is also one of the syntax only. Okay. Now suppose if I go with the negative indexes, sorry, negative indices. Suppose if I take -1, -1 is nothing but last value. Right to left, you have to take in negative indices values. 45. Yes, you are able to get. If I take -2, yes, you are able to get that, right? So guys, that is the way how to define array and how to access your elements from your array. Okay. Okay guys, thank you for watching this video. Do subscribe my channel. In case if you have any queries, you can drop a mail to this email ID, doitpython@gmail.com, or you can also comment on the below of this video. Okay, bye.